Guys, Mr. Scanlon here, and in this video we're going to be making quite possibly the longest or the biggest app we've made so far with these tutorials. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to be like there's going to be like an input box here and a button, and you're going to be able to, like, type something in, like a message or something, and hit enter, and then inside the app it's going to pop up like as a message, like card or something. I only wrote it over here just to show you guys some typing. It's actually going to happen all in the app. So first thing you guys are going to do is go ahead and get rid of this button because we don't need it. And something I always like doing with my apps is getting a colored header up here just to lighten the mood a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and grab this yellow header. You guys can pick any color you want though. And just replace this bar stable with the color. And so now I have like a nice yellow header here. And then and yeah, that's looking good so far. Now, next what I want is I want to go and get the form of something where you can, like, type in and then hit submit with, right? Now, we don't need like two things, and I kind of want the button off to the side. So what the one I'm going to use is I'm going to use this guy right here. It's called Inset Inputs. You can probably just click on it right here. But this one's good just because it has the input box here and then the button right next to it. So it's all in one line. It's not going to get like cluttered at the top. So go ahead and paste that inside the Ion content. And I'm just going to tab this out so it looks nice and just kind of format this a little bit better. Alright, and then obviously we're not going to be getting an email, so we want to change the placeholder of the input to message. And so that looks much better. We can type something in, we'll be able to hit submit, something will happen, okay? And then we're obviously going to need these later. And on the input box, we're going to need an ID of our message, so that way we can grab the value of the message inside the message box later. So it all works out that way. Submit on the button is okay, I think. That's a fine thing to call it, I guess. Alright, and then so, like I said before, we want to just display a card, like right here. Now the kind of card we're going to use, if you go back to the components, click cards, we're going to want something that looks like this right here. Let me just make sure that's the one I want. Yeah, that's the one I want. So let's use this one. Don't use one with like a header, because we're not going to have anything else except for just some text in there. So this is fine. And go into the Ion content, and right below your list div, so right above this Ion content, go ahead and paste this in real quick. So you can see, we're going to have the message in here, and then we'll have like a couple messages, like there'll be like multiple cards. Now we don't want to just like paste these in, get some cards, type something in, and be done with it. We want to make a cool app where you can actually type something in and it'll pop up. That would be like a lazy app. We don't want to do that. So there we go. So I'm actually going to get rid of this right here and replace it with just a simple div. So right here, there's a div right above the Ion content. We're going to name this our content. So there's nothing there right now, but we're going to replace whatever is in there with some JavaScript of our messages. So just go to the JavaScript real quick, and we're going to make, if you guys remember from Code Academy, I think you guys just got up to, or maybe like right before, arrays. But you guys probably remember from Python arrays. So we're going to make var messages an array. Okay, so like the square brackets, so it's an array right there. Okay, and then we're going to make this other thing called we'll make a function. So like on, or we'll call this function submit. So when they click that submit button, that's what we want, and we'll go ahead and add that onto the submit button right now. So we'll say on click is equal to submit parentheses. So they click it, and then something's going to run. Just to show you guys that that's working right now, I can say inside the submit, I'll say console.log submitted message, right? So if I click this here, you can see inside the console here it's saying submitted message, so you know it's working, okay? So that's pretty good right there. Now what we want to do is when we click on submit, we want to change the document.get element by ID of the content, right? So in the div, we want to change that. So we'll say our content, and then we want to change the inner HTML of it. So inner HTML. We want to remove this div and replace it with something, you know, like an imp or like a message box or something that we just like typed in there and posted. So we can say is equal to, you know, we'll call this. We'll just say hello right now, and you know this is going to pop up once we hit submit. It's going to pop up with hello. Okay. Because we just hard-coded that in there. Nothing pretty happened, really. So now what we want to do is we want to replace that hello with something, a variable of some kind, where we can, remember, variables are constantly changing, so we want to have a variable that can take in new messages and output them to the screen. So we're going to say var, let's see, we'll say var content is equal to an empty string, and then right below that we're going to have a for loop. If you guys remember this from Code Academy, you should remember this from Code Academy if you're doing Code Academy. For var I, which is our placeholder 0, for as long as I is less than the length of our messages array, so messages.length, semicolon, and then we want to increment that I, obviously. So those are the three things we need in the for loop, right? And then inside this for loop, basically what we're going to do is we're just going to append the card code with the message attached to it to the content, and then the content will be placed inside this hello at the end. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new variable out here that's just called var m for message, and set that just to an empty string. And in here we're going to say m is equal to quotes. I'm just going to space these quotes out, and I'm going to paste in that card code, this code right here, inside these quotes. Okay, and I'll tab it out so it looks a little neater. And then I'm going to get rid of this text here. Okay, get rid of that text, and then replace it with 2 quotes and 2 plus signs, so that way we can add in the message instead of you know, having like that templated message. This is a basic card. You know, we want our own message in there, so quotes and then pluses, and then in here we're going to put in the message. Okay, so we want to say messages, which is our array. Put in the box because we want to target a certain part of the array, and then put I in there because we're looping through using I in the for loop. Okay, and then we're just going to simply say content is equal to content plus the message. Okay, so we want to take that content and add some more stuff in there. Now all we got to do now is just replace this hello with content, and you'll notice getting an error here for some reason. Oh, so oops, this might take a second. So just replace these double quotes with single quotes. So a single quote right here, and then a single quote right here, and then these guys got to be single quotes as well. So the reason why we have to do that is because we were getting an error a minute ago because of these full quotes that they were using for the classes. I think that should fix it. We'll know for sure in a minute here. It says unclosed string, but I don't believe that. Alright, so if not, we could just use something else. It doesn't matter. The next thing that we need to do is we need to, every time we click submit, we need to actually have that message like end up in the messages array here. So we're going to go here and we're going to say we want to grab that the content inside of our message, so our message. So we're just going to say you know, var we'll say text is equal to document.get element by ID, and we're going to target, remember again, that our message dot inner, or so no, sorry, value. We want the value, not the inner HTML. And then we can just simply append to the messages array. So we'll say messages dot push. So we're going to push that text into the message array. Okay. So let me just try this out real quick. This might kind of give us some problems here, just because we are getting some red. We are getting some errors here, but I don't quite know. Hold on. Hello. I hit submit. Submit is not defined. Something's wrong here. Oh, here. So it's giving us still a hard time with these like single quotes. So just replace it. There's a symbol right above the tab sign. It's like next to the tilde, and these are like special programming quotes, and you guys can just use these. That'll fix it. I had a feeling we were going to have to use them, but I was trying to get away with the single quotes so you guys didn't have to go hunting on the keyboard for this. So these, they're like not apostrophes, not quotes, but they're something else. They're just like these like programmer quotes right below your escape button. If you just tap it, you'll get it, no problem. So now if I type hello in here and I hit submit, you can see hello popped up. I can hit it a bunch of times and a bunch of hellos pop up. You know, what's up? Hit that. It adds it to the bottom. We could change that if we wanted to, but right now it's fine. So yeah, that's this is the code here for this app. Basically, we just made like a little texting app. You know, you type something in up here, you hit submit, and it adds it into the messages. In fact, if I hit submit a couple more times, you can kind of see, you know, it goes down a bit here. There's quite a bit on the screen. So yeah, basically, just to recap this whole thing, what we're doing here is we're grabbing the text from this input box. We're hitting submit. On the submit call, what we're doing is we're appending the new text onto the messages, and then we're re-rendering all the messages onto the screen using this for loop, which is basically just adding in a card with the message to the content for each message, and then we're putting it inside of the HTML at the content where the div sits. Okay. Hopefully that was pretty clear for you guys, and it was a fun little app to make. You know, what I guess you guys could do right now is find a way to reverse the app. So here, let me just reset it real quick. Find a way to reverse the app. So if I type in, you know, a couple messages here, I want this 2 to be ahead of the 1 here, right? So every new message goes to the top. Try and find a way to do that. I'll give you a hint. You could either change this line in some way, or you could change the for loop in some way to get that to happen. All right, that's all for this episode or tutorial, whatever you want to call it. Have fun.